A friend of mine told me that my videos come off a little bit too dim, so I am going to get one of those ring lights. I just keep forgetting. It's like not at the top of the list, but I'm going to get one. How will the 2024 election affect the job market, and when will it change? So here's the issue. Right now, companies are risk averse, right? But that doesn't necessarily mean doom and gloom. It just means they're uncertain right now. So it's not that companies aren't hiring, it's just that they're not hiring right now. They're trying to see how this election shakes out before they make any moves, which makes sense. That's understandable. But the question is, what does that mean? How long is that going to take? Are we talking a couple of months, few months, a year or so? What's the deal? So before I talk about how long, here's what the execs are saying. And when I say execs, I mean C-levels, shareholders, board members, think Bezos and Bill Gates, although I'm sure they'll be just fine. Anyway, here's what the execs are saying based on public knowledge and based on what other leaders in the industry that I've personally spoken to are saying too. So they're freaking out because of a couple of things. So one, we all saw what happened after 2021, after that hiring boom, when everybody and their mom was hiring all the time. Side note, I knew it was going to shift. And I wish I would have made a video about that at the time because the first thing I did was I went and got a new job because I knew I would get a crazy pay increase. The second thing I did was I saved like crazy because I knew the pendulum was going to shift the other way eventually. I hate that after a while, we as humans, we just know these things, but I knew it was going down because that's just the way these things go. Two, depending on the nature of the business, they're worried about tariffs and other taxes that could affect the way they do business. I'm specifically talking about international companies that sell products, but no one's really exempt. So right now, companies are looking to scale in different ways, like taking advantage of AI or other companies that provide automation services. By the way, companies that provide automation services, those are the ones to look at in 2025. Those companies will be hiring. Everybody's talking about how they can automate this and automate that. And what I mean by automation is companies don't want to hire people to handle the easier tasks. They want to hire people to handle the more difficult tasks and automate more of the everyday and automate more of the mundane tasks. Like think, for example, if you call your cable company and you just want to change your phone number, companies don't necessarily want you to speak to an agent to do that. They want to automate something like that since it's such an easy task to do. But if you have a one-off question that's not very common, that's where an agent would come in. That's what I mean by automation versus a human. But automation and AI is still not foolproof. They still need humans because let's face it, AI security can be a little shaky sometimes. And remember what I said earlier about companies being risk averse. So back to when things will change. Let's keep it 100 here. As of today, November 5th, no one can answer that question with complete certainty because of these two. But if we go back in history and we look at the dot-com bubble that busted like an overinflated balloon and the 2008 recession, we saw things eventually make a shift. Companies slow down hiring around the holidays anyway, unless they're looking for hiring help, and they still are. Even though retail giants are not expecting consumers to go crazy this year, because as buyers, we're nervous too. But companies are still anticipating a budget for hiring at the beginning of 2025. And what I mean by the beginning of 2025 is, I mean February minimum for companies to open up those pockets again because companies want to hire help and they need to, especially since their core talent has already gotten burned out. That's another conversation for another day. But think of when COVID happened. No one anticipated anything that had to do with remote work to boom. But what happened? Companies like Zoom or any other company that had to do with anything home related kind of blew up. They were selling PJs, they blew up. They were selling candles, they blew up. Everyone was also making bread for whatever reason, just lots of bread. And Manny and Petty sets too, which I fell prey for one of those that I haven't even used since 2011. And remember, streaming services were scrambling to create good content as well because people were at home. That shift created new opportunities for people to get jobs at different places for companies that generally were kind of stale before. So keep that in mind after the holidays when it's time to hit the virtual pavement again. Think about what's hot right now, what everybody's talking about. That way, come 2025, you can get yourself at the front of the line. That's all for now.